I was warned not to share this, not because it doesn't work, but because once you understand it, you can never be controlled again. Most people are taught how to work. Very few are taught how money actually moves. And what I'm about to say will make some people uncomfortable, because it exposes a lie that keeps millions trapped. Money does not respond to hard work alone, and this truth is uncomfortable because it challenges what most people have been taught since childhood. From a young age, we are told that if we study harder, work longer hours, and sacrifice more of our time, financial success will eventually arrive. Yet reality tells a different story. Millions of people work endlessly, honestly, and with dedication, but remain stuck in the same financial position year after year. At the same time, others seem to move forward with ease, even when conditions are difficult. This difference is not about intelligence, luck, or privilege alone. It is about alignment. Alignment means that your actions, mindset, values, and direction are working together toward a clear outcome. When someone is aligned, every effort they make moves them closer to value creation. When someone is misaligned, even extreme effort produces very little result. This is why two people can work the same number of hours in the same industry and experience completely different financial outcomes. One is aligned with value and direction, the other is simply exhausted. Hard work without direction is like rowing a boat with great strength while facing the wrong way. You may feel tired, you may feel productive, but you are not moving toward your destination. Money flows toward impact, usefulness, and clarity. It follows those who understand where they are going and why. When your energy is scattered, your goals unclear, and your beliefs conflicted, money senses that instability and stays away. Alignment begins internally. Before money shows up in your life, it responds to how you think about yourself and your place in the world. If deep down you believe you are only meant to survive and not thrive, your decisions will quietly support that belief. You may avoid opportunities, underprice your work, delay action, or remain loyal to comfort instead of growth. None of this looks like failure from the outside. It looks like being busy. But busyness without alignment is one of the greatest traps people fall into. Money also responds to clarity of value. When you are aligned, you know exactly what you offer and who you offer it to. You are not trying to please everyone. You are not copying others blindly. You are not chasing trends without understanding them. You are focused on creating something meaningful, useful, or transformative. That focus creates momentum. Momentum attracts money because it reduces risk and increases trust. Another critical part of alignment is emotional honesty. Many people say they want money, but emotionally they associate money with fear, stress, conflict, or guilt. Some believe wealth will change them for the worse. Others fear judgment from family or community. As long as these internal conflicts exist, money feels unsafe entering their life. Alignment means resolving these inner contradictions so your desire and your beliefs point in the same direction. Alignment also requires patience combined with consistency. This does not mean waiting passively. It means committing to a direction long enough for results to compound. Misaligned people constantly switch paths. They try something briefly, see no immediate result, and move on. Aligned people refine instead of quitting. They adjust, learn, and improve while staying connected to their core purpose. Over time, this creates mastery, and mastery attracts money naturally. One of the biggest misconceptions is that alignment is spiritual or abstract only. In reality, it shows up in very practical ways. It affects how you manage your time, how you price your work, how you communicate, and how you make decisions under pressure. When your actions match your long-term vision, money recognizes stability. Stability creates confidence. Confidence creates opportunity. When people finally experience alignment, they often describe it as relief rather than excitement. Things stop feeling forced. Opportunities appear through conversations, referrals, and unexpected doors. Effort still exists, but it feels meaningful instead of draining. This is when people say money started flowing suddenly, even though it was quietly building for years beneath the surface. In conclusion, money does not reward exhaustion, it rewards alignment. Hard work is not useless, but without direction, value, and inner agreement, it becomes a cycle of effort without progress. When your mindset, purpose, skills, and actions move together, money has a clear path to follow. The moment you stop trying to prove your worth through struggle and start positioning yourself through alignment, everything changes. Money no longer feels distant or hostile. It becomes a natural response to who you are, what you offer, and the clarity with which you move forward. Most people are taught to chase money, but very few are taught to understand why this chase almost always leads to frustration. From an early age, the message is clear: get a job, work harder, earn more. This creates a mindset where money is seen as something outside of you, something you must pursue, convince, or beg for. The problem is that money does not move toward desperation. It moves toward usefulness. When you chase money directly, your focus narrows to survival, and survival thinking limits creativity, confidence, and long-term vision. This is why so many people feel trapped even when they are constantly busy. Becoming a solution requires a complete shift in perspective. Instead of asking, "How can I make money?" you begin asking, "What problem exists, and how can I solve it better, faster, or more honestly than others?" This question changes everything because it places value at the center of your actions. Money is simply a reward for value delivered. When value increases, income increases naturally. When value is unclear, money becomes unstable no matter how much effort is applied. Every successful business, service, or career is built on solving a problem. Some problems are obvious, like saving time, reducing stress, increasing health, or making life more convenient. Other problems are emotional, such as providing clarity, confidence, inspiration, or a sense of belonging. The size of the problem you solve often determines the size of the reward. Small problems may bring modest income. Large, painful, or urgent problems attract significant financial return. This is not greed. It is economics and human behavior. When you position yourself as a solution, you stop competing on effort and start competing on impact. Two people may work the same number of hours, but the one who solves a clearer or more urgent problem will always be paid more. This is why a consultant can earn more in 1 hour than someone else earns in a week. The difference is not moral worth or effort. It is the level of problem being addressed and the clarity with which it is solved. Another powerful shift happens when you focus on solutions. Fear begins to fade. Chasing money creates anxiety because money feels unpredictable and scarce. Solving problems creates confidence because you are focused on contribution. When your attention is on helping, improving, or fixing something real, your self-worth grows. That inner stability makes you more decisive, more persuasive, and more resilient. These traits naturally attract opportunities and financial growth. Becoming a solution also forces you to develop skills. You cannot solve meaningful problems without learning, improving, and adapting. This leads to personal growth that compounds over time. Skills stay with you even when circumstances change. Money earned through chasing often disappears as quickly as it comes. Money earned through value creation is repeatable because it is rooted in capability, not chance. Many people underestimate how close they already are to becoming a solution. They assume they need to invent something revolutionary or become an expert overnight. In reality, most opportunities come from improving what already exists. Doing something more clearly, more honestly, more efficiently, or more compassionately can be enough. People pay for relief, clarity, and trust as much as they pay for innovation. There is also a spiritual dimension to becoming a solution. When you contribute meaningfully to others, you step out of self-centered fear and into purpose. Purpose creates energy. Energy attracts connection. Connection opens doors. This flow is often mistaken for luck, but it is the natural result of alignment between service and reward. Money follows because it is simply a tool that allows solutions to reach more people. As you stop chasing money and start becoming a solution, your relationship with wealth changes. Money becomes feedback rather than obsession. It shows you where you are creating value and where you need to improve. Instead of feeling controlled by money, you begin to understand it. This understanding brings calm, strategy, and long-term thinking. You no longer panic during slow periods because you know your value remains intact. In conclusion, chasing money keeps you trapped in fear, while becoming a solution sets you free. Money is not the goal, it is the result. When you focus on solving real problems for real people, income becomes a natural consequence rather than a constant struggle. The moment you stop running after money and start standing in value, money turns around and follows you. This shift is not just a strategy for wealth. It is a transformation in how you live, work, and see your purpose in the world. Many people unknowingly block money not because they lack opportunity, but because of the beliefs they carry about wealth. These beliefs are often invisible, formed quietly through childhood experiences, cultural messages, family struggles, and personal disappointments. Over time, they become mental rules that govern what feels possible and what feels forbidden. A person may say they want financial abundance, yet deep inside believe that money is dangerous, corrupting, or meant only for others. Money responds more to these hidden beliefs than to spoken desires. Beliefs act like instructions. If you believe money is hard to earn, your life will consistently prove that belief correct. If you believe wealth brings stress or conflict, you will subconsciously avoid situations that could increase your income. This is not punishment or fate. It is alignment between belief and behavior. Every decision you make is filtered through what you believe to be true. Over time, these small decisions compound into predictable financial outcomes. Many people carry guilt around money without realizing it. They associate wealth with greed, selfishness, or moral failure. This belief is especially strong in environments where struggle is normalized and abundance is viewed with suspicion. As a result, when money starts to grow, discomfort appears. People sabotage themselves by overspending, undercharging, procrastinating, or rejecting opportunities. On the surface, it looks like bad luck. In reality, it is the mind trying to return to what feels familiar and safe. Fear is another powerful blocker. Fear of losing money, fear of making mistakes, fear of judgment, and fear of responsibility all shape financial behavior. Someone who fears loss will avoid investment. Someone who fears judgment will hide their ambition. Someone who fears responsibility will stay small even when growth is possible. Money requires decision, making, leadership, and accountability. If those ideas trigger fear, money will never stay long. Beliefs about worthiness are often the deepest block. Many people do not believe they deserve abundance. They may feel they are not smart enough, educated enough, spiritual enough, or lucky enough. This belief quietly caps income. Even when opportunities arise, they feel undeserved, causing hesitation or rejection. Money does not stay where it is not welcomed. Worthiness is not about ego, it is about permission. When you give yourself permission to receive, your behavior changes immediately. These beliefs are reinforced daily through language. Phrases like money is the root of all evil, rich people are greedy, or I'm just not good with money may sound harmless, but they program the subconscious. The mind listens to repetition. What you say casually becomes what you expect unconsciously. Over time, expectations turn into results. Changing your financial reality requires changing the language you use internally and externally about money. Awareness is the first step to change. You cannot release a belief you do not recognize. Pay attention to emotional reactions when money is discussed. Notice feelings of anxiety, resentment, envy, or shame. These emotions point directly to hidden beliefs. Instead of judging them, question them. Ask where they came from and whether they are truly yours. Many beliefs were inherited, not chosen. Replacing limiting beliefs does not require denial or blind positivity. It requires truth and balance. Money itself is neutral. It amplifies what already exists. In the hands of someone with good intentions, money becomes a tool for growth, generosity, and impact. Understanding this dissolves guilt. Seeing money as responsibility rather than corruption changes how the mind receives it. As beliefs shift, behavior shifts naturally, confidence improves, decisions become clearer, opportunities feel safer instead of threatening. You begin to see money as something that can be managed, directed, and used with purpose. This internal change often precedes external change. Income may increase gradually or suddenly, but it always follows belief. In conclusion, your beliefs about money quietly determine how much you receive, keep, and grow. Effort cannot override belief for long. As long as fear, guilt, or unworthiness live in the mind, money will remain limited. When those beliefs are questioned and released, money flows more freely because it is finally aligned with who you believe yourself to be. Change the belief, and the result will follow. Money is deeply affected by order, even though this connection is rarely discussed. Many people believe that wealth is created through big ideas, luck, or powerful connections, but overlook the quiet force that allows money to stay and grow: structure. Order is the environment in which money feels safe. Without it, income leaks away no matter how much is earned. This is why some people make large amounts of money and still struggle, while others with modest income continue to build stability and growth. Disorder creates confusion, and confusion creates anxiety. When finances are disorganized, the mind avoids looking at them. Bills go unchecked, spending becomes impulsive, and decisions are delayed. This avoidance creates a cycle where money feels overwhelming rather than manageable. Money does not thrive in environments where it is ignored or feared. It responds to clarity, attention, and intention. Order begins with awareness. Knowing exactly what comes in and what goes out is not restrictive, it is empowering. When you track your finances, money stops being mysterious. It becomes measurable and predictable. This predictability reduces stress and increases confidence. Confidence leads to better decisions, and better decisions create better outcomes. Even small amounts of order can dramatically change how money behaves in your life. Many people resist financial structure because they associate it with limitation. They believe budgets restrict freedom. In reality, disorder is what limits freedom. Without structure, money controls you through anxiety and uncertainty. With structure, you control money through choice. Order does not mean perfection. It means consistency and honesty. It means facing reality without judgment. Money also respects boundaries. When spending has no limits, money disappears quickly. Boundaries give money direction. They ensure that resources are used intentionally rather than emotionally. Emotional spending is often a response to stress, boredom, or insecurity. Order interrupts this pattern by creating pause. That pause allows logic to replace impulse, protecting long-term stability. Order attracts growth because it creates trust. Whether in business or personal finances, order signals reliability. Investors, partners, and even opportunities respond to organized systems. When your financial life is structured, others feel safer engaging with you. Trust accelerates opportunity, and opportunity accelerates income. Another overlooked aspect of order is preparation. Organized finances allow you to act when opportunities arise. Without order, even good opportunities feel risky because you lack clarity. With order, you know what you can afford, where you can invest, and how much risk you can take. This readiness often separates those who grow from those who stay stuck. Order also builds self-respect. When you manage money with care, you communicate to yourself that your future matters. This internal message strengthens discipline and patience. Over time, these traits compound into long-term wealth. Money flows more easily to those who demonstrate responsibility, because responsibility signals capacity. Importantly, order does not require high income. Anyone can create structure, regardless of how much they earn. In fact, structure is most powerful when income is small because it prevents chaos from forming. Many wealthy individuals built their success during periods of limited resources by mastering order first. As order becomes a habit, money stops feeling like an enemy. It becomes a system you understand and guide. Fear is replaced by calm. Guesswork is replaced by strategy. Over time, this calm allows for smarter thinking, creativity, and long-term planning, which naturally increase income. In conclusion, money obeys order because order creates safety, clarity, and trust. Chaos repels abundance, while structure invites it to stay and grow. No amount of income can compensate for disorder, and no level of order goes unrewarded. When you bring clarity and discipline into your financial life, money responds not with struggle, but with stability and expansion. Giving before you feel ready is one of the most misunderstood and resisted principles when it comes to money, yet it is also one of the most powerful. Most people wait to feel safe, secure, and abundant before they consider generosity. They tell themselves they will give when they have more, when things are stable, when the pressure eases. But this mindset is rooted in fear, not wisdom. Waiting to give until you feel comfortable often means you never give at all, because fear always finds a reason to delay. Giving is not about losing, it is about movement. Money is energy in motion. When money stops moving, it stagnates. Stagnation creates anxiety, hoarding, and insecurity. Circulation creates flow, and flow creates growth. When you give intentionally, you signal that you trust movement more than control. This trust changes your relationship with money at a deep psychological level. Giving before you feel ready challenges the fear of lack. Fear of lack whispers that there is not enough, that one wrong decision will lead to collapse. This fear keeps people trapped in survival mode. Survival mode narrows thinking and limits opportunity. When you give despite fear, you break the dominance of that fear. You demonstrate to yourself that you are not controlled by scarcity. That internal shift is often more valuable than the amount given. Many people misunderstand generosity as weakness. They believe giving makes them vulnerable or foolish. In reality, intentional giving is a position of strength. It requires confidence, discipline, and vision. Giving without purpose can be reckless, but giving with intention is strategic. It aligns money with values, which creates emotional stability. Emotional stability leads to better decisions and long-term growth. Giving also changes perception. When you give, you stop seeing money only as protection and start seeing it as a tool. Tools are meant to be used, not hoarded. This shift reduces anxiety and increases creativity. Instead of obsessing over what might be lost, your mind opens to what can be created. Creativity attracts opportunity, and opportunity attracts income. Another powerful effect of giving is connection. Giving builds trust and relationships. People are drawn to generosity because it signals abundance mindset and reliability. These relationships often open doors that money alone cannot. Opportunities, partnerships, referrals, and support frequently arise from networks built on generosity rather than self-interest. Giving also trains discipline. When you commit to giving regularly, you become more intentional with spending. Waste decreases because purpose increases. This paradox surprises many people. Instead of feeling poorer, they often feel more in control. Control comes from clarity, not hoarding. Giving clarifies priorities and reduces emotional spending. Spiritually, giving aligns you with contribution rather than consumption. Contribution creates meaning. Meaning fuels motivation. Motivation sustains effort. Effort directed by meaning produces results that are more consistent and fulfilling than effort driven by fear. This is why many people who practice intentional giving report not just financial improvement, but greater peace and focus. Importantly, giving does not require large amounts. It requires consistency and intention. Even small acts of generosity reinforce the belief that you live in a world of flow rather than scarcity. Over time, this belief reshapes behavior, expectations, and outcomes. Money begins to feel less threatening and more cooperative. Giving also reduces attachment. Attachment creates anxiety because it makes loss feel catastrophic. When you loosen attachment, you gain flexibility. Flexibility allows you to adapt, pivot, and recover quickly. Money moves toward those who are adaptable because adaptability reduces risk. In conclusion, giving before you feel ready is not about sacrifice. It is about trust and alignment. It breaks the fear of lack, restores flow, and reshapes your relationship with money. When money moves with purpose, it multiplies. When it is trapped by fear, it shrinks. By choosing intentional generosity, you send a powerful signal to yourself and to life that you believe in abundance, movement, and growth. And money responds accordingly. Money rarely exceeds the image a person holds of themselves, even when opportunity, talent, and effort are present. This is one of the quiet laws that governs financial life. People often believe income is determined by education, background, or hard work. But beneath all of those factors sits self-image. Self-image is the internal picture you carry of who you are, what you deserve, and what level of success feels normal for you. Money does not rise beyond what feels normal for your identity, because anything beyond that creates psychological discomfort. When someone with a low self-image receives more money than they believe they deserve, tension appears. They may feel anxiety, guilt, or fear of being exposed as an imposter. To relieve this discomfort, the mind looks for ways to return to familiar ground. This is why some people lose money quickly, make reckless decisions, or unconsciously sabotage progress. It is not a lack of intelligence. It is the nervous system trying to protect a familiar identity. Self-image is shaped early. Family conversations, childhood experiences, cultural expectations, and personal failures all contribute to it. If someone grows up hearing that success is for other people, or that wealth changes people for the worse, those messages become internal limits. Even when external circumstances change, internal limits remain unless they are consciously addressed. Your self-image influences how you speak, negotiate, and present yourself. Someone who sees themselves as valuable sets boundaries, asks for fair compensation, and speaks with confidence. Someone who sees themselves as replaceable underprices their work, avoids visibility, and hesitates to ask. These behaviors directly affect income. Over time, the gap widens, reinforcing the original self-image and making it feel like proof. Raising income, therefore, requires expanding identity. You must become the kind of person who is comfortable receiving more. This does not mean arrogance or entitlement. It means self-respect and responsibility. Money brings decisions, influence, and accountability. If you do not see yourself as capable of handling those things, you will unconsciously avoid them. Changing self-image is not about affirmations alone. It requires evidence. Evidence comes from keeping promises to yourself, improving skills, taking responsibility, and following through on commitments. Each small act of integrity strengthens identity. As identity strengthens, income has room to grow. Environment also plays a role. Surroundings either reinforce limitation or expansion. Being around people who normalize growth, discipline, and abundance helps recalibrate what feels possible. When higher levels of success become familiar, the nervous system relaxes. Relaxation allows money to stay. Self-image also affects how you respond to setbacks. Someone with strong self-image sees failure as feedback. Someone with weak self-image sees it as confirmation of unworthiness. The first persists and grows. The second retreats and stays small. Over time, this difference compounds into vastly different financial realities. Importantly, self-image must align with values. Wealth that contradicts values creates internal conflict. Conflict drains energy and leads to self-sabotage. When money is connected to purpose and contribution, identity expands naturally. You no longer feel like an imposter because your success serves something beyond ego. As self-image rises, behavior changes without force. Confidence becomes calm rather than loud. Decisions become clearer. Opportunities feel manageable instead of threatening. Money senses this stability and responds. In conclusion, your income will never consistently exceed your self-image because money follows identity. To change what you earn, you must change who you believe you are capable of being. When self-respect, responsibility, and purpose replace doubt and limitation, money finds a place where it can stay and grow. Faith-driven action is the difference between knowing a principle and living it. Many people understand what they should do to improve their financial lives, yet remain stuck because understanding alone does not create results. Knowledge without movement becomes frustration. Faith-driven action bridges the gap between insight and outcome. It means acting with commitment before certainty appears, trusting the process enough to move forward even when the result is not guaranteed. Most people wait for confidence before taking action. They want proof, reassurance, and perfect conditions. The problem is that confidence is usually the result of action, not the cause. When you wait until fear disappears, you give fear control over your decisions. Faith-driven action reverses this dynamic. You move first and clarity follows. This movement sends a powerful signal to the mind and to life itself that you are willing to participate rather than remain passive. Faith in this context is not blind belief or denial of reality. It is trust in principles, values, and direction. It is the willingness to act based on alignment rather than emotion. Fear is emotional and reactive. Faith is intentional and steady. When action is driven by fear, it is inconsistent. When action is driven by faith, it becomes disciplined and persistent. Money responds strongly to consistency. Inconsistent action creates unpredictable results. Predictability builds momentum. Momentum attracts opportunity. Faith-driven action produces consistency because it is rooted in purpose rather than mood. Even when results are slow, action continues. Over time, this persistence compounds into progress that appears sudden from the outside. Faith-driven action also sharpens focus. When you commit fully, distractions lose power. Half-hearted effort scatters energy. Committed effort concentrates it. Concentration improves quality, and quality attracts value. This is why people who move decisively often advance faster than those who hesitate endlessly. Another key aspect of faith-driven action is responsibility. Acting in faith means owning outcomes instead of blaming circumstances. This ownership increases learning. Every action produces feedback. Feedback refines strategy. Strategy improves results. People who avoid action avoid feedback, and without feedback, growth stops. Faith-driven action also reshapes identity. Each step taken despite fear reinforces self-trust. Self-trust reduces anxiety. Reduced anxiety improves decision-making. Better decisions create better financial outcomes. This cycle strengthens over time, creating stability and confidence that money responds to. Importantly, faith-driven action does not guarantee immediate success. It guarantees progress. Progress builds skill, resilience, and understanding. These assets remain even when specific attempts fail. Over time, these assets become more valuable than any single result. In a financial context, faith-driven action might mean starting before you feel ready, pricing your work fairly despite doubt, investing in learning, or committing to consistency when results are invisible. These actions feel risky in the moment but create long-term advantage. As faith-driven action becomes habitual, fear loses authority. Fear may still appear, but it no longer decides. Decisions are guided by vision and values. Money flows more easily because behavior is stable and intentional. In conclusion, knowing a strategy is not enough. Results come from faith-driven action. When you act with trust, consistency, and responsibility, momentum builds, identity expands, and money responds. Faith without action is empty, and action without faith is chaotic. Together, they create the path where growth becomes inevitable.